Hey, how's it going, everybody? JT here. I'm battling long COVID, so stay with me. I got my LaCroix, and I got pickle juice, and I got coffee, and I got Anthony Bertolino, and we're going to get through this. On behalf of the Ethfinance community on Reddit, and thanks to the EVMavericks for hosting happy hour number 12 for this day. Give us a thumbs up, smash a bell if you haven't already. This is the weekly Doots live stream. It's all about showcasing the best of the week from the Ethfinance community on Reddit. This is a read-along reaction, so if you want to follow along, hit up dailydoots.com. And while you're at it, grab today's POAP. Also, coming up, we got great guests joining us in the coming weeks. We have Gloria from Bittlebox on the 31st, Evan McMullen from Disco, XYZ on the 7th, and Chris Winfrey from Hop Protocol on April 14th. And today, we're super glad to have Anthony Bertolino from POAP. Say hi, Anthony.
Yo, 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 super happy to be here. So sorry that you have long COVID there. Hopefully that pickle juice gets you going well and cleans that voice up. I'm used to hearing your pretty voice, so I guess today's a different story, but that's okay.
Well, we got a lot of people helping out. I'm going to do a little bit of color commentary, but I'm going to turn this over pretty quick to a couple of our members on the Discord here to do some of the read through. So stick around after the live stream because we continue the party in the hotel lobby on Discord for a bonus hour of popcorn. It's a fun place to let loose when the parents aren't watching YouTube. Hi, Mom. On behalf of the Ethfinance and EVMavericks DAO, let's get this going. I'm going to go ahead and let's see if we can get T-Word. I'm going to have T-Word go ahead and go through these announcements real quick.
Yeah, today we have the Trinity is the supporting show of the week, coming in this morning with a price of $18.14 from Vinegar Strokes, and then later down there on the ratio we've got Nixo with 0.064 coming in. So I think we're missing out on a little bit of Mr. Ethereum. So maybe we'll be able to coordinate something and get back in everyone aligned in their incentives here.
So I think the word on the street is Mr. ETH is on daylight savings time and his robot's not kicking in to say Ethereum every day at midnight central. So we're gonna fix that. At dailydoots.com, do you want to go through these announcements real quick? A-word? Scroll up a little bit there and hit that for us.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me pull up real quick.
Or hashtag, either one.
Ooh, sorry, JT.
No, that's all right. Hashtag, you got it? He's all muted up. So, POAP has released POAP drops. So we're going to talk to Anthony a little bit about that. And then Chappella upgrade POAP.art party on April 12th at 9:30 Universal Time. Let's see, it'd be 5:30 a.m. Central. Or I'm sorry, Eastern. And then there's a new delegates section where you can find members of the Ethfinance community to delegate votes to. I'm thinking that's Arbitrum related. All right. The A-word. Are you good? Do you want to go on to the ship post of the week? Because we always like to save the best for first.
Yeah, I am ready. Here we go. User Scientist has this week's ship post of the week. He urges anyone who hasn't done so to read through the chapter on digital assets in the economic report of the president. It gives a full picture of the deviousness and flipacity of the Biden administration toward crypto. Take this gem on page 238, for example. Crypto assets to date do not appear to offer any investments with any fundamental value, nor do they act as an effective alternative to fiat money, improve financial inclusion, or make payments more efficient. Instead, their innovation has been mostly about creating artificial scarcity in order to support crypto asset prices, and many of them have no fundamental value. Complete horseshit. They do act as non-inflationary alternative to debasement of fiat money. Today, they do act as a self-custodial alternative to money which relies on trusting banks, in which literally teetering on the brink of bankruptcy. And I won't go through the rest of that. This is a rather long. It was an actual Doot. The ship post this week was. So I'll let you guys continue on with that.
Yeah.
Lastly, it just says, if you're tired of this government lying and gaslighting and overreach, a good place to start is to sign up for crypto advocacy program on Coinbase, and there was a link there at the bottom of that.
Yeah, so
for you guys to get involved.
So we can tread lightly and not talk about politics, but talk about policy, right? So this is the economic report of the president, regardless of who's sitting in the seat or party affiliation. This is the narrative. And Anthony, I don't know if you have any color commentary on this or if anybody else in the voice chat wants to chime in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite timely. I think many of us who, whether you've been in the industry for a while or just recently, it seems that for us who are in the industry and more so spreading into kind of normal everyday life, people are starting to have as much confidence in crypto assets as typical fiat currencies. And I would say for some of us, we have more confidence in crypto assets, particularly money like Ethereum, Ether, rather than the US dollar. If we're able to look at how markets have reacted to this news, we'll see that many banks are down substantially, while things like Ethereum are up substantially in the last, say, 30 days. Typically, markets are ways of seeing how humans at scale are thinking about something, and so clearly, human beings are putting more weight in Ether temporarily than are the banks and probably the fiat monetary system. And I saw a funny tweet from Bankless how they basically, you can replace a couple words in this report and it looks like you're talking about the banks rather than crypto, at least when they're talking in a derogatory sense.
Interesting.
So, I think it's timely. It's very timely.
My takeaway, and I'll keep it real short so other people can chime in, is it's messing with jobs, it's messing with tax revenue and the good things that come out of crypto. They're eliminating so many jobs by closing down these, if this is carrying over into why some of these banks are closing, those ripple effects downstream. And I don't know, I feel like I really want to see the United States lead in innovation so we can create jobs and extrapolate wealth into this economy. So anyway, rising tide lifts all boats, unless you're in the middle of a whirlpool.
Yeah, it's almost the definition of doublespeak, right? They're just listing the things that it does correctly and efficiently and saying that it literally carries no value. It's like what we're all here for, and they're listing off the reasons.
Very good. Let's go ahead and move on down to our weekly haiku.
Yeah, we've got our weekly haiku from JS Tears. Do Kwon arrested, Arbitrum still congested, rewards divested.
Great job, JS Tears, bringing the heat again on this awesome haikus. It's really sweet. All right, moving on to today in Ethereum, going all the way back. Let's start at 2016, A-word.
Yeah, in 2016, engineers at BitGo create Ethereum multisig wallet ether.li. Japanese Bitcoin exchange CoinCheck starts trading Ether. No malice found in ETH going from $11.30 to $12.40, or 0.02709 to 0.02964 on the Bitcoin ratio.
I love this. 2017, Coinbase receives the approval to trade Ether and Litecoin in New York. That was pretty big back then, being able to open those channels up in the state of New York. 2018, ETH flails at $538. Wow. And then 2019, 138. And then 2020, 124. That's crazy. That range over the course of those 3 years at the same time each year. All right, A-word, I guess 2021.
Yeah, in 2020, you see Uniswap V2 is launched, and then in 21 they present V3. So quite prolific on the Uniswap front there.
No doubt.
And then in 22, GameStop launches its NFT marketplace and beta. They're in a partnership with a ZK rollup based on Ethereum Layer 2 Loopring. And then, of course, ETH injects zeros into a bunch of numbers, like being at $3,030 on the Bitcoin ratio of 0.0707.
Excellent. Well, that wraps up. I think we're ready now for Anthony Bertolino, POAP.xyz growth leader. Great to have you on the show. We're going to give you, 15 minutes or so. I want to hear in your words. I don't want to do the whole when did you find Bitcoin. I want to do the what other jobs in Web3 have you had? How did you get to POAP and when?
Yeah, so this is another one of those very funny full circle culmination moments for me, especially having you, here, JT, and chatting with you. I actually started my adventure in Ethereum in very early 2017 after the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance news, and spent an ungodly amount of time on ETH Trader, and was, very, very active. And so, I've interacted with some of you off and on now for what feels like almost 7 years. And, that started on ETH Trader, eventually that moved to Twitter, other Discord groups, in real life, and now hanging out with EVMavericks in Discord as well.
I want to dox your Reddit name. Is that all right?
Yeah, of course. Just don't go through my history.
I won't go. We won't do that. But I know there's a bunch of OGs in here that would recognize user Italian Stallion. That's Anthony. Yeah. He's been around for a long time. That's cool.
Yeah, Italian Stallion in 2017, 2018, I spent so much time on ETH Trader, eventually had, a lot of donuts. And I wasn't actually around for the fracture with Ethfinance and ETH Trader. I had moved on to Twitter and had been really focusing on kind of operating in the space. But, came back on Twitter and now Discord, and just, a lot of you guys have been around a long time. And if you've been around a long time or whether you're new, it's an amazing community. And so, I'm at POAP now. Starting in 2017 until now, I've had multiple different sales, marketing, and growth roles with a few different companies. I recently left iTrust Capital about a year ago, where I had joined at a very, very early stage, basically seed stage, and helped grow that company to over a unicorn value. And we built essentially the first really scalable crypto retirement account platform in the U.S. And so was able to continue to grow in my knowledge of product and marketing and growth loops, etc. And after I left the organization, I was hanging out with Patricio at ETH Denver last year.
I love that guy.
And, yeah, Patricio's amazing, and he was saying, well, we're growing and we're scaling, and so you should probably talk to our team and see if it's a good fit. And I had collected my first POAP in 2019. I had collected many POAPs. I got my first POAP from Patricio himself at DAppCon. There's a picture of him handing it to me, which is such a amazing memory for me, which is actually attached to that POAP. You can attach images to POAPs now, which I can get into later. And happy to be leading growth at POAP. And so POAP is what I consider to be one of the true hearts of the Ethereum culture, one of the first and most scaled out use cases that are non-speculative, that are deriving real value from the EVM, that again is non-speculative or financial in nature. And happy to talk about POAP and POAP drops, but it's an amazing place to work, and particularly because it really is just an extension of the Ethereum community. And so what I'm growing is I feel like I'm helping to grow the Ethereum community in a way.
Keep rocking. Let's talk POAPs. Let's talk POAP drops. Let's talk pictures in POAPs. Lay it on us.
Yeah, so POAP drops is one of the first products we've launched in a while that I feel like the everyday user can use. I can sit down with my little cousin who's 10 years old and knows his way around a computer, and he can drop a POAP in just a couple minutes. For anyone that has not dropped a POAP, I really, really encourage you to go to drops.poap.xyz and go through the experience. what has historically been a pain point for people when creating POAPs, once they know that they want to do it, is the art. How do you generate the art? We have an automatic resizing feature now built into POAP Drop. So if you say, went to dinner with some friends or went on a vacation or went to a family wedding or any memorable moment in life, right? POAP is made to create digital collectibles, precious digital collectibles for moments in your life. So let's say you went to a wedding and you had a photo with the groom. You just head to POAP Drops. You can upload the photo. It'll automatically resize and turn it into a POAP. You type in the title, type in the description, and you quickly can generate a collectible for free to share with the groom, with other people at the event. And it's really as quickly as that. Before POAP Drops came out, we had a legacy platform, which goes by many different names. At one point, it even was sort of called the back office. And the user interface and the entire experience felt like, quote, somewhere you weren't supposed to be, as if like you got to a page that was only for admins or maybe the team to create POAPs. And the new Drops platform or interface is what is going to allow everyone to create POAPs that want to celebrate special moments in life. And again, if you're in here and you've never created a POAP, later on, you can go and check it out and you'll be able to create your first POAP very, very easily.
This is fantastic. And it almost sounds like you mentioned a wedding. It kind of reminds me of like Snapchat filters, or location-based type, things that you can do to augment the event. It sounds to me that you guys are really dialing in the user experience to create something that is shared on chain, however it all works, without really anybody knowing how it works or what's driving underneath. And that's a real driver for the space. That's like a big thing that is going to increase adoption. I'm curious, and maybe you could tell me, would you say that POAP has probably been the biggest explosion in user-to-user interaction and kind of like people getting a wallet for their first time is because they got a POAP?
Yeah, and I would say that's also backed by on-chain data. So first, in regards to the experience, you're totally right. We're trying to nail the experience to make an application that feels like a Web 2 app because we want all humans to be able to celebrate their precious moments in life and to have digital collectibles to represent those moments in life. And if they have to create a private key, if they need to sign transactions, frankly, if they need to be sending gas on chain and having that type of UX, it's not going to scale. And so we are trying to push the boundaries of what the Web3 UX can be while still using the EVM and the permanence and the all the benefits of blockchain. So, and then as you mentioned, yeah, I'd say POAP is probably the Web3 app, maybe next to ENS. And I'd be interested in hearing others that have people have touched as much as, say, POAP or ENS, right? Where, if, for example, if you just go to a crypto conference, you're likely going to be getting a POAP. Normies who show up are going to be getting a POAP. And, the goal is for them to collect POAPs and then to understand that, hey, life is short, life is valuable. You can celebrate life in better ways or more experiential ways by having collectibles that represent life's moments. And then we're getting them to use Ethereum, and all within hopefully a really good Web 2 UX. And one heuristic that I like to say to people who are new to POAP, and I know almost everyone here or everyone has POAP, so I'm sort of preaching to the choir. But one thing that I really like is again, it's digital collectibles for precious moments in life. And the way I use POAP personally is what I want it to be is when I'm 75 years old, 80 years old, and God forbid my memory is failing me, I'll be able to pull up my POAP app collection and look at all the amazing moments in life. Weddings I went to, great conferences I went to, and jokes I had with friends. And I think that is something that brings humans together. It makes you experience life in different ways. And I have an article coming out in the near future called Memory Dividends that gets into this, where a lot of us have financial dividends, right? Where, we love our ETH staking because we get our staking yield, which is like a dividend, or our passive income. POAPs are a way to get memory dividends, emotional dividends. You have a life moment and you can reflect on it later. And what's better than getting a emotional dividend? I'd say it's better than a financial dividend because it really sustains your heart and soul.
Hey, those of you who are watching on YouTube, Nick Kish has entered the chat on Zoom with us, going to be hanging out with us. And Anthony Bertolino from POAP, he's our growth lead, hanging out with us on the call today. This idea, I think your real linchpin moment, Anthony, if I'm understanding this correct, is the ability for users to quickly make POAPs with pictures on their phone. That is exactly like the gateway drug of today's generation of cell phone users. It's all about the Insta. It's all about the selfie. Being able to share that in a POAP setting is a huge breakthrough for you guys. Good job.
Yeah, and it doesn't take away from the people who still do amazing, beautifully crafted custom POAPs, because I still feel like those are extra special. But what we don't want to do is prevent normal people from celebrating precious moments in life just because they don't know how to use Photoshop or Canva. I use Canva to make my POAPs, and they're not the most beautiful, but they're very special to me. But now with this new upload feature, I actually just made a POAP with Nick Serkish and Lamboshi and a few others.
Awesome.
From when we went to Red Rocks. And it was like, I wasn't sure how to make a Red Rocks POAP, so I just slapped in the photo we all took, and it's a beautiful POAP.
Fantastic. Let's see, is there anybody in the audience that wants to chime in? He's here. Lay it on him. If you got a question, just unmute yourself and jump right in. You don't have to wait on any of us dirty moderators to let you talk.
Hey,
all the questions.
JT.
Yes, sir. This is Logic Beach. How's it going?
Well, hey, I don't know if you guys have mentioned it yet, but you guys were just talking about POAPs, and I just wanted to mention for the Shanghai/Capella Chapella upgrade party next month on the 12th, there will be a POAP.art paint party to celebrate that. And I know that the EVMs always come out in force and do some awesome stuff manually. I wanted to mention that specifically because no bot usage there. I saw you guys really kill it during the merge, so I'm excited to see what you do this time.
Yeah, we got Mavericks that are ready to draw on that bad boy, I'm sure.
We're trying to make this the most inclusive, paint party of all time. Let's get the most people we can in here.
I think that is absolutely going to be a fun event. Anybody?
Yeah, and I'll be in here a few times probably leading up to that. Just gonna mention it now, but yeah, let's get the word out. Any communities that you guys want to see in there, let's get this a little further than ever before.
Agreed.
Worldwide. All right, that's it.
Yeah, please do talk about it every time leading up to it. We always appreciate you keeping people abreast of what's going on. Anybody got any questions for Anthony Bertolino before we start going through the weekly Doots?
I just wanted to say, man, I like this idea, Anthony. There's so many, like you said, just moments between just me and my friends, that nobody will understand, I guess, but us. So it's really cool to be able to commemorate those on chain because, you remember them years later when you're just sitting around BSing with your buds or whatever. But it'd be really cool to be able to pull up a list of them and go, hey, you remember when we did this? So I like that idea, Anthony. I love what you're doing, man.
JB, that's actually my favorite use case of POAP, is making the absolute ridiculous memes that our friends do in real life and turning them into digital collectibles for us to collect. All my friends, or the friend group of who are idiots like me and we do hilarious things, they invest in ETH, but they don't use it on chain. So when they get POAPs, it feels like, they're getting closer to Ethereum in a way, and they're having these collectibles. And, it's so funny. A couple months ago, we went into a dinosaur exhibit near my house in LA, and we hopped the fence and we climbed on the dinosaurs and rode them and took photos like idiots. And I recently made that into a POAP, and it's one of my favorite POAPs. So, when you do things with your friends and you have those funny moments that no one else would understand, these inside jokes, I think POAP is the perfect use case for that, and everyone should start making POAPs for their friends when you have funny inside jokes. Your friends, your family, anyone. It's one of the best use cases that I love.
I really appreciate you making that easy and like on a phone, because it's always kind of a spur of the moment thing, So it's cool to just be able to whip out your phone and make a POAP real quick and kind of commemorate, in your case, breaking and entering, but you're fun. So yeah, that's awesome, man. I love it. This is great.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Give us a URL one more time for the drops.
Yeah, drops.poap.xyz. Again, it's just look through your phone, look at the photos you have, what was really special, vacation, a dinner, a family moment, whatever it is, and just make a POAP as an experiment. You'll be able to request some mint links, just text them out to whoever was there, and you'll quickly realize how easy it is to celebrate these important life moments. And what you're doing is you're spreading the EVM, right? You're spreading Ethereum. So it's a win-win for everyone.
Fantastic. Is there any other things parting? Well, you don't have to leave.
Hey, JT.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, this is Reed. Hey, Anthony. How you been, man?
Hey, good. What's up?
So I just want to say real fast, I think the drops is such a cool evolution of the system as well, with the fact that the edit code is there available for you. So it's a little technical, but it used to be that it was emailed to you. It was something that normies would get lost pretty easily. But making it in one place is really cool. So it's cool. It's cool to see it finally come into the public view.
Yeah. For POAP OGs like yourself, and maybe some others here who have created drops in the back office and gone through edit codes and emails and mint links as attachments. This really is like a big paradigm shift, and I think it's the product that can get normal people or maybe technical weirdos. We like to tinker with things. Everyone who's probably in the EVMavericks, you like to tinker with technology, and so you would have gone through the POAP experience because of the technology aspect. But drops is really meant to be for the everyman. And yeah, we tried to have a unified platform, so you can not only create POAPs in there, you can actually see your old POAPs that you've created. You can edit POAPs if you ever make a mistake. You can request new mint links or new quantities in case you have, you forgot about Uncle Joe was at that event and he needs a POAP. You can go quickly get more. So it's really great.
Yeah, don't forget Uncle Joe. Shit. He gives the best gifts. He gives gifts at Christmas, Can't leave him out.
It's become a really nice community tool as well. I've started using POAPs in our bottle share clubs. So just like as a fun kind of meetup type of, commemorative collectible to share around for people who were there. But also we've been using them almost like a receipt to say that I made this trade with this other person for this beer. And it really serves as to, for lack of a better term, onboarding, the normies. They do feel like they're using blockchain, and they do feel like they're technology adjacent. So it really is serving to be like a fun community tool, but also just getting people to use these technologies who don't even know they're using these cutting edge things that we're gonna, hold so dear in years to come.
Yeah, totally. And that's what's so interesting is once you start giving out the collectibles for, again, special moments, it really does open up. I don't want to say, composability isn't the word, but it opens up a lot more ways that you can use the POAPs to re-engage with your collectors or your friends who have those POAPs, entering them with raffles or being able to prove you are there at a certain moment, which might give you certain benefits or gives you special access to, you could say if anyone's traded, 5 or 10 of these bottles, if they hold one of those POAPs, they can all go in to buy this new special rare bottle. I'm not sure if you're talking about beer bottles or what, but it all applies equally, right? Where you can prove who was there, and then you could even give them additional benefits for being there And I actually think POAPs are interesting ways to spin up new DAOs as well. With POAP checkout, you could create a small temporary DAO where you all you all put in money, you get a POAP to celebrate that event that you're funding, and then you all sort of can have like on-chain authority via POAPs. Like you could vote on Snapshot for things, and so it's really interesting as a coordination mechanism as well. But primarily, as long as it's rooted in like special moments in life, which I think spinning up DAOs for an experiment via POAPs is pretty special.
We've been using POAP checkout since the first daily Doot live stream. This is our 12th week in a row, or I think we missed maybe 1 week. I'm not sure. Anyway, COVID brain. But anyway, yeah, go ahead. Somebody else was chiming in.
Oh, we've got a question in from the chat, which actually kind of jumps on my next thought as well. Interweaver asks, when permissionless POAPs and when sign in with Ethereum instead of email? Is that on the horizon for you guys at all?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the second question is a lot easier. When Ethereum sign on, POAP Drops is the new interface, and it's going to be the go-to interface for all things issuing POAPs. Eventually, it might have additional experiences in there, so it could be like a single hub. Right now, you do sign on with an email, but I know it's somewhere on the roadmap to have like Web3 sign on with Ethereum, right? I'd rather say sign on with Ethereum than Web3 sign on. But I don't know.
Agreed.
I don't know where that's at. It's getting scoped out. It also theoretically opens up additional attack vectors as well. Like I don't want to speak for our product team because we have a whole product team, and we even have someone who leads issuer experience who works on the Drops platform. So there's a whole bunch going on there that I don't want to speak for them. But in my opinion, once you do open up sign on with Ethereum, there are additional attack vectors that you need to consider, which we don't need to get into, but having people sign their wallet again in your UI is a whole new animal. But we do intend to do it. I don't know when. The second question is when permissionless POAP. This is a really, really great question, and there's a lot of different ways to answer it. I'll say first and foremost, POAP is not designed to be permissionless in the same sense that Ethereum block space is designed to be permissionless. POAP is explicitly designed as a curated ecosystem, and it's a curated ecosystem for the preservation of memories. So what is a curated ecosystem? When you log into Netflix, or when you go on YouTube, or even you watch news, or even if you go in the EVM Discord, this is all curated because it's designed to not just be, in things that are permissionless, it can be super crazy. Anyone can post things. And so when things are curated, it typically provides a better experience. So we have a curation body that approves and rejects. And usually when it comes to rejecting, it's trying to guide you to approval. It's not just like a yes or no. Approves or rejects POAP requests to make sure that they fit with the POAP ethos or the POAP mission. And so what that is, first and foremost, is, are you celebrating a precious moment, like a life moment? If you got your first like on Twitter, maybe that's not a special moment unless you're kind of a weirdo, right? Do you get a POAP for every time someone likes a Twitter post? No, right? So first off, is it memorable? A wedding, that's memorable. There's other things that are just not memorable. Like every day when you go to the gym, unless this is like a big milestone for you, it's probably not a memorable moment. And again, there's nuanced here. So then what also plays a role in, aside from this just ambiguous, like, is it a precious moment, is the art high quality? Does it have a story associated with it? Is it a shared memory? Are there multiple peoples you're sharing it with? Which is, I actually pushed back on that in the past where, I think you could, depending on some people, you could maybe have a memory that you just share with yourself and like God, theoretically, right? So I don't know if God has an ENS, but you could probably send it to like Jesus.E and it'll go through. Anyway, so it's curated ecosystem and it's for the preservation of memories. If POAP was to be permissionless, that would allow it would probably turn it into a free NFT minter, and it would likely result in some sort of spam, like an intense amount of spam, and it would make POAPs be less meaningful. I think
Indeed.
Yes. And I think as POAP matures, every POAP should be representative of something in history that was somewhat memorable to humans. And ideally, when the next time humans land on the moon, like that's a POAP, right? Like that's a very special POAP. But when I go and sit on the couch in 5 minutes or 20 minutes, that's not really a POAP. And so we need like curators to make the decisions and help make the decisions for the community at what is memorable or not. And will that expand over time via governance and community input? Yes, very much so. So the evolution of this question as we move forward is head to the POAP discourse. I would say once every week or two, we sort of create new topics for people to engage in and give their opinions to help shape the future of POAP. Discourse is also open for you to post questions and ideas if you have an idea for how POAP could progressively become more, again, not permissionless, but more open in a way to fit this curated mission. And, I'd say from my interacting with the community and on discourse and on Discord and seeing people in real life, I think there's an appetite for POAP to decentralize over time. I think it's the mission of the protocol to decentralize over time. It's not to be confused with permissionless. And I don't think the community is ready by any means. And I think protecting this technology is super important. And if you feel very passionate about seeing this be more open and decentralized, then man, join the conversation. We're here to welcome you with open arms. We want critical feedback, and that's what the community is for. And I'd say there's, a couple handful, dozens of people who are interested in that. And to have a system that can fuel the world's memories, you probably need like thousands or tens of thousands. So slowly but surely, and we welcome everyone with open arms.
Great job. This is exciting. So Anthony, how can people get in touch with you? What's your MySpace?
Yeah, man, MySpace. That's OG. Yeah, on Twitter, it's I decentralized, like an Apple product. I decentralized. Anthony Bertolino. Also, you can find me in the POAP Discord. You can find me on the POAP Discourse. We welcome anyone to join in this mission. And my main call to action here for everyone is like, just go to Drops. If you haven't created a POAP, create your first POAP. Maybe just make a I Love You Mom POAP. I don't know, just something that's important in life that you want another human to feel special and connected with you. So
good. This is great. Well, we really appreciate you taking time to hang out with us. If you know anybody else in the world that would want to join us and talk to these lovely Mavericks, we're always here. We're always looking for guests every Friday, 12 Eastern. Stick around, though. We want to see if you want to give us some color commentary. We're going to dailydoots.com. You can pick up your POAP there. We're going to start down the list of the best of what was in Ethfinance last week. It looks like we got a John B. McElmore post. A-Word, do you want to take it away?
Absolutely. The real John B. McElmore shares the latest ERC to get created and its implications. Breaking news. EIP 4804 is now an ERC. So, like under ERC 4804, internet users have the option to type Web3 / verse HTTP in their browsers to bring up the dApps such as Uniswap or on-chain NFTs directly. OMMFG, bros. We can now directly run a query to the EVM.
This is crazy, huh? JBM, are you there? Can you expand on this a bit?
Yeah, so we kind of got our own interface into Web3. So if you go to, this URL is kind of long, but if you go to HTTPS w3url.w3eth.io, you can see a website that is built on this new ERC. And then you can also get a plugin for Firefox so that you can use Web3 : links instead of the old HTTP.
Say it again.
So it's really cool.
Web3 what? HTTPS colon
So,
/
so like, when you go on your browser, you type in a website address, you type HTTPS
Yep.
colon / so going forward now, you can type web3 colon / and you can access the EVM directly through that. So there's a extension for Firefox so that you
Gotcha.
can access that today, which is pretty cool. And if you go to that website I mentioned, that thing is totally built on ETH storage testnet, and it is hosted on the EVM completely, and you can pull it up in your browser. So this is so cool. We don't have to go through the Web 2 anymore to get our sites and stuff online. It can all be on Web 3 now. So just really, really cool. Go check out this website, guys, because you'll be shocked that this is all just like running on Ethereum on the EVM. It's awesome.
Excellent job.
Can you guys hear me?
And we've
It's a
got an
little-
example link in the voice chat also.
Nick, so your
Okay, great.
microphone's
Yeah,
working, but it's light. You want to try again?
That's what I mentioned. Yeah, that URL. I'll try to make a post in the sub for everyone today, so with all the links and stuff, because it's really, really cool.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Nixo's working on her microphone. Go ahead.
Can you actually hear me?
It's real light. It kind of cuts in and
What
out.
about? Wow. Okay. I
Okay,
have
that's
like
better.
a very fancy mic here going on.
Hey.
JVM, can you explain? I'm not a super technical person. What is the difference between having an HTTP and a Web3? Like, what are the actual technicals of, like, does it access a different thing? I don't understand what the difference.
So like right
fundamentally
now,
is.
when you go to a website, like even Caches, for example, and you go to log in with it, you're going over like traditional HTTP web, right? And so the whole site is stored on my server, and then it provides like an interface to the Web3, all the stuff that we like to do, like mint NFTs and all of those things. So now all of that, the website, everything can all be stored in the EVM through ETH storage, and so you can basically bypass the web at this point. And so you're operating directly in the EVM, which should make everything like quicker, faster. You can get like dynamic site elements going on pulled directly from the EVM. I mean, it's just integrated. If you go to that website that I mentioned, it kind of explains everything way better than I could in this few minutes. I mean, it goes through some really good detail, has a link to the Firefox add-on that you can get. And that URL, if I gave you, if you just swap out the .io on the end with .eth, and you have that Firefox plugin, you can actually just see it working. Like it's going. So you can have decentralized websites is basically what it boils down to, I think. So really, really cool. You don't need AWS. You don't need web servers. You can just keep it all on the EVM.
So while you've been talking, I went to caches.xyz and also found a tweet linking to this portal, access portal for.
There you go. Yeah.
And so those of you that are watching on YouTube, you can see the URL up here. It was actually also a news article, right, that came from one of the crypto news sites also. So, very good. Any other questions on this? All right, I think we're ready to rock and roll. A word. Nick, so your microphone sounds good. Do you want to read yours? Because you're next on the list.
All right, you can hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Dang. First time I've ever fallen for something stupid. I went to check out Arbitrum eligibility and clicked on the first link under the announcement. The link did look like a scam to me, but I had just read a friend comment that the legit airdrop / video looks like a scam. So my brain had its defenses down. I only connected, and I think it just took whatever already had approvals, which was all my DAI. Feels bad, man. 5,400 DAI is no small sum. It unfortunately looks like they got a few people before the tweet was hidden. Mm-hmm. And then it asked to approve my RPL, at which point my brain went, oh, this is a scam. I don't know what I'm doing. And I quit out, and I immediately went to revoke.cash, but it was too late by that point. Things I could have done better that I usually would do, but I don't. I just got lazy. The tweet that I followed, I should have looked at the Twitter handle is in addition to the Twitter display name because it looked like Arbitrum. It was like directly under their tweet. It looked like there was a tweet thread. I should have found the link elsewhere, meaning I should have gone to their Discord and been like, okay, yes, this is the link. And I just generally should have slowed down for reading things from my wallet because usually when things are a signature instead of a transaction or approval, I just hit sign because I'm like, well, I'm just connecting. This is really low risk. Expensive lesson learned. I learned. Yeah, it was a bad day. I think I woke up, I had a meeting, I did that, and then I got right back into bed and I watched lame movies.
What did you do
But
specifically?
sorry.
What did you lose specifically? Like it drained assets from your wallet, correct?
Yeah, so
The
I
die,
lost
yeah.
all my die. So I learned through this that die is a special kind of ERC20 that has a function that not all ERC20s has. It's called permit. And what it does is it just signs an unlimited approval. So all you have to do is hit sign instead of approve, because normally ERC20s, it asks you to approve an amount and then you send an amount.
Shit,
But
my bad. I didn't mean to do that. God damn
Yeah,
it.
so it's what you can do with a
Sorry.
message versus a transaction, right?
yeah, so die you can send all of your die with just a message. Which I did not know that. I did not know any ERC20s were like that. And I learned something new.
It's an expensive lesson. I've learned a couple of lessons myself, and you really do just you lose a lot of yourself in the moment because you feel like I should be smarter than that, and it's just
Oh yeah.
these people are so flippin' sophisticated, and they're able to find the easy way to onboard people into scams.
I mean, it's
they
sad
beat
because I was
POAP to it, just
yeah.
like, God.
It's sad because I was looking at the address that had taken it and like I was watching other people go in and I was like, I wish there was some way that you could like warn people or like create some sort of I don't know, because I was watching other people were actually like approving transactions, like sending a lot of their coins.
God,
But anyway, so that
devastating.
happened. I got really lucky. As soon as I have Etherscan alerts turned on, and as soon as that Etherscan alert like popped up on my screen, I could hear my heartbeat in my ears.
Yep.
Like those moments when you think that you're being drained and you just like panic. I just sent away all my assets and I was like, I got rid of all my gas.
I have 2 stories of sim swapping that I haven't. Some of the OGs that know me for a long time, they know what I've gone through. And sim swapping is that same damn last person on earth feeling because you can't stop it. And
Yeah, I mean,
it's just
your
shit.
sim swapping story. Yeah, your sim swapping story is so much worse because you got hit by a bunch of angles. At least I knew exactly what it was. I knew exactly like what coin it was taking. I knew exactly what address it was getting at.
Yeah. Well, it's just I'm so sorry for your loss.
Something else to
I
be aware
Uh,
of is a lot of people when they're trying a new app, they'll kind of ask like, "Hey, has anybody else used this? Is it good?" It's kind of like a security measure. And other people will be like, "Oh yeah, I've used it and I'm not hacked yet."
Last
Or
pass.
I haven't been drained yet. But something to be aware of with that kind of approach is a lot of times they'll have a threshold limit on there for when they'll attack you. So, if that threshold limit was like, let's say 5,000 and, everyone else that you're asking that was using it just fine, was trading under that, and, it wouldn't have activated. But if you went and, moved $6,000 worth of funds, then, it could trigger in and drain your funds.
By the way,
Nice. Yeah,
go ahead. Sorry.
my friend Yorick Down, part of Eastacre, suggested to me afterwards that revoke.cash actually has a browser extension that will pop up before transactions and it'll say, hey, this transaction or signature or approval is trying to spend your money. Are you sure that that's what you want to do? So I installed that afterwards and it's really nice. It's a good UI.
For those of you listening, that was Hani Abu talking in Discord. Hani Abu is a person who created dailydoots.com and is a big assistant in helping us keep all the information together in a nice, cohesive, readable, read-along format. Any other?
Hani Abu is
Yep.
Hani Abu is a stellar asset in this ecosystem. He is also building the eStaker website, which Alpha, eStaker is coming out with a new website very soon, and we're very excited to launch it.
Yeah,
You're too kind.
He's Chuck Norris's nephew. Let's move on.
Speaking of dailydoots.com, there is a new delegate section if anybody's looking to delegate their tokens. So you could go on there and see who from the Ethfinance community is a delegate. And
really cool.
So that's
shop around a bit.
Delegates for every kind of thing out there?
Yeah, I kind of skimmed around the main
Just get the big
DAOs.
ones.
But yeah, there's like Arbitrum, ENS. There's some for Hop. But yeah, I'm hoping that others will come forward now that it exists.
That's really
but I just kind of did a
neat.
quick skim for who I knew.
That's really good because then it's like you give a nice cohesive place for Mavericks or further people in the Ethfinance community to act on their promptings, and we almost kind of feel like a Web3 political action committee forming, trying to.
Yeah, everyone's I guess you could say like tensions, morals. I don't really know the correct
Culture.
word, but we're all kind of we're all somewhat mostly aligned. So you kind of have a better idea of what you're expecting from someone in the community in terms of viewpoints versus some other random delegate.
I love it. That's fantastic. A-word, let's move down the list. Looks like Bago Gel 12 is back on the list again.
Yeah, Bago Gel 12 and United Terror on the Euler exploit. So this Euler exploit has been going on. There's a more up-to-date, but when I had added it to the list, and this is what was going on. It's Season 2, Episode 3, The Merciful Hacker Continued. So after the exploiter had sent 100 ETH to one affected user, DeFi Llama News identified this lucky person. They actually are quite informative. I didn't know DeFi Llama has its own newspaper. After swap.defillama.com, it's another killer product in the Llama universe. Let's see. The interesting part of this episode is the 100 ETH that are actually worth more than the user had lost in the wrapped stETH that they had. It was 86. Essentially, the user would have profited from the deal. So being now officially doxed, he sent back 12 ETH to the official Euler depositor address. Is this correct? Who knows? We'll see if Euler will push for the full amount to be returned. It's a subplot which runs through this entire season. So Season 2, Episode 2, The Maniac Hacker. Every morning the hacker gets up. He's doing something with his freshly earned money. You own 200 million and you can now have some fun with it, right? So today morning he decided to give 100 ETH to the allegedly North Korean and OFAC sanctioned Ronin exploiter address. Probably Lazarus Control.
Jeez.
Is he trying to fool us? Some kind of weird joke or 21-year-old hacker, or is it some kind of attribution to them? What will come next? Sending some to SBF or Alameda, or is he just bored and wants this to raise the level of GTA?
The warrant level.
wants to raise his warrant level in GTA with a little bit of chaos.
Oh my God.
All right, so jumping down to Episode 3, we've got Tornado Cash activity. He did some tracking of the wallets, which have used Tornado Cash recently. The activity has fallen quite a bit after it was hit with the OFAC sanction rule. So it's kind of easy to track the activity, even visually and manually. Here's the result. And then it has a link there. It's a bit surprised that 125 ETH went pretty straight from Tornado into Binance. The other larger chunk was moved into Railgun and multi-BTC. Only some of the smaller amounts have ran over privacy-oriented exchanges. It seems that the merciful maniac hacker has not cashed their own ETH out.
You know, this guy might return the funds that he took, but like at this point he has burned so much of it that I don't think that they should give him any reprieve, even if he returns it. He's burned so much of it and been so irresponsible with all of it.
Oh, agreed. It's like, I didn't realize everybody was watching, so here, let's do a little bit of this and do a little of that. And can you really blame me? You know, it seems like that's going to be their defense.
Crazy. Well, shout out to Bago Gel 12 for making a mini series with the season 2, episode 3. I mean, keep documenting this stuff, Bago Gel. It's great.
I honestly think that like this kind of thing can be turned into a Netflix series where every episode is like a different exploit that happened and the Zach XBT level tracking down.
Yeah, right. The writing is better than what's on TV currently, so I'd watch that.
And we didn't even get down to United Terror. United Terror had a little addendum on there as well.
That's correct. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. It's a long post. People can read it on their own. But yeah, I just want to make sure United Terror got the mention. Good job. That is
and it looks like they've got a official post-mortem on that Twitter link there also.
Excellent. All right. Well, let's keep rocking.
I've got a hard stop in 4 minutes if you want me to be on for mine.
Logree, we hear you. Are you talking?
Yeah, sure. We can jump right into Logree the Bard finishes his post on decentralized identity.
So I think the post is it's a kind of a misnomer summary by Tricky. It's actually on how to use reputation scores as collateral. If you follow anything with Eigenlayer, and they want to use a interest-bearing form of collateral to remove the time cost of money from all other staking initiatives and kind of unify ETH as the universal collateral of all cryptocurrency, basically, right? Which I think is something we'd mostly get behind. Another way of improving the capital efficiency of collateral is to have it literally not be capital. Right? And so what other things could we use there? Well, we could use reputation. And how do you get a non-gameable form of reputation? Well, you have to make sure that whatever you would do to game it is suboptimal compared to just having money. And so what is the criteria in which you can do something that's suboptimal that we would want to reward? And the idea that jumps to mind for me is just honest behavior. It is often the case that acting honestly is monetarily suboptimal compared to maximally gaming a system, right? So you have your MEV, and that's your maximum extractable value. Anything less than that is basically you being nice or perhaps being incompetent. But either way, right, it is suboptimal not to maximally extract the value. And we have other forms of that in this ecosystem. So you could look at perhaps derive the money that someone could have exploited and chose not to, call that an honesty factor and use it as a non-gameable form of reputation, and then use that as collateral in lieu of staked ETH for other chain-adjacent services, right? I mean, really, you could use other forms of reputation, but you have to be really good about the Sybil resistance layer, right? You have to make sure that, like, whatever bots can't just hijack it and then get a bunch of non-collateral, money racked up as points, then use that to attack your network. This approach solves that. And I thought it was interesting enough to be worth writing about.
And where can they find your posts and blogs?
Tokenomicsexplained.com.
I couldn't hear you. Say it again.
Tokenomicsexplained.com.
There you go. Logree the Bard, thank you. Appreciate you stopping by, as always, dropping half your brain in here. It's amazing. You
Oh yeah,
always
I
write
was
such
also
great
down with
posts.
COVID when that was happening.
Shit,
Yeah, I was like fevering. So
Of
it's not my
course.
best writing, but I think it was worth writing about.
I love how you explain how it wasn't your best. It's still always rocket surgery to me. I love it.
Rocket surgery.
I finally got back to normal stupid with this COVID nonsense, so I'm just happy to be back to normal stupid rather than
I'm
like
gonna
all
start
the way.
using that term, rocket surgery. It's all rocket surgery.
It's all rocket surgery for me.
Not as usual, Dane Bramage, yeah. Yes.
Hey, T-word, go up to Kukai Walker, drafted a letter.
Yeah, let's circle back. Kukai Walker drafted a letter to their representative and shared the template for you. Yes, you. At the encouragement of the Crypto and the Bloods yesterday, I drafted a letter to my U.S. representative, who happens to be among the 100-plus members of Congressional Progressive Caucus. I took the perspective that crypto is well aligned with progressive principles, so they should engage, including here for crowdsourcing feedback to improve it and for others to cut and paste from it, especially if you too have a CPC representative. And then they have that template there for everyone to go ahead and use.
This is good. We need to be writing politicians, and we need all politicians in a bipartisan way to get behind this movement. 100%. There's way too much growth and entrepreneurship and lifting all those boats we could do together if they just would stop making everything partisan.
And this template is amazing. He put so much work into this.
Can you read it? I want to hear it read out because I think people need to hear this one. At least parts of it. Nixo, you want to do it?
Yeah, I'm happy to read it. Dear Representative, I'm writing to you today to encourage you and CPC to engage actively in policymaking around digital assets, aka crypto. As one of the 20% of Americans who owns digital assets, I have used much of my recent time to teach myself about digital assets and the broader domain of blockchain technology. This is a highly technical field requiring me to learn about such areas as cryptography, finance, decentralized networks, computing, and others. This knowledge has yielded practical benefits in that I have learned how to join thousands of others to stake Ether on the Ethereum blockchain, which now provides me with a steady income. This knowledge has also allowed me to cut through the hype, misinformation, and disinformation surrounding cryptocurrency in the popular discourse to conclude that, in fact, the crypto ecosystem of digital assets, smart contracts, and public blockchains such as Bitcoin and Ethereum has value and will disrupt economic and business systems around the world. For instance, decentralized finance protocols allow everyday people to instantly make payments around the world and make loans and other financial transactions without commercial middlemen. Immutable and transparent records on the public blockchain can protect intellectual property and assure fair and transparent management of royalties. Public blockchains can serve as a permanent store of critical personal events, including birth, death, graduation, etc. Assignment of unique, non-fungible tokens can help manage ownership and transfer of collectibles, valuables, artwork, etc. Blockchain has potential business use cases such as online gaming, supply chain management, and carbon credit system. The crypto ecosystem can transform the internet business model from allowing dominant internet platforms, for example, Facebook, Google, Apple, to own and profit from personal information to a Web3 model where the user controls their own data on the blockchain. I have also been struck by the fact that there is a significant alignment between the principles underlying cryptocurrency and the progressive agenda. The essence of the crypto ecosystem is that the data and open source computer code distributed and synchronized around the world can replace reliance on institutional middlemen, for example, banks, internet platforms, with a decentralized, transparent system available to all whose trust comes from the decentralized crypto ecosystem, in which users can directly take custody of their own assets and personal data. These features can directly support the progressive agenda and its commitment to sweeping transformative change.
This is my favorite part coming up right here.
Income inequality can be reduced by helping underserved populations who, under legacy systems, cannot go get a loan, buy a house, or start a business, to build wealth and carry out financial transactions without needed without needing to rely on gatekeeping banks that may have institutional biases that disadvantage them. Facilitating crypto use can help advance racial justice and equity. A 2019 FDIC survey found that 14% of African American households and 12% of Hispanic American households were unbanked compared to only 2.5% of white households. A recent Harris poll found that 30% of Black Americans and 27% of Hispanic Americans own crypto compared to 17% of white Americans. That's crazy. Replacing banks with self-custody and a fully transparent accounting on a public blockchain will reimagine the role of institutions that exacerbate injustice and inequality.
I'm going to pause right there. Let's pause right there. What is this deal with the Biden administration with the latest economic report where they are actively, debanking banks from crypto railing, their customers? And here we have documented proof right here, according to the FDIC, about the number of Black Americans that own crypto. Come on. If we're going to fix this shit, let's get it going and stop talking about it.
It really speaks to the state of affairs that underserved populations right now are pivoting harder to crypto than people who traditionally the financial system was built for.
Well, this is a great letter, and thank you, Kukai Walker, for putting it together, regardless of the progressive agenda or the conservative agenda, because there's a lot of Republican leaders in crypto. We need to get this stuff figured out. Clearly, the people that are kind of in charge right now, not just Democrats, Republicans, I'm saying bankers in general, the Treasury, all the fiduciary overlords, so to speak, they're all trying to figure it out. And we're seeing the train is kind of slipping around on the tracks. Anyway, I don't know if anybody else wants to add to that before we get too heated or political, but I think it was a great Doot T-word. I'm glad you added it.
This is just fire all the way around. Everyone needs to send this in, guys. This is how they will listen to you, but you gotta write something. You can also call them. You can just call them and read this to them. They have to listen to you. So even if it takes you 2 hours to read the thing, they can't hang up on you. So it's important to hit up your politicians. Explain to them why this is better, how you're making money, how it's improving your life, making you pay more taxes, et cetera, et cetera.
Also, consider your audience. If you have a Republican or conservative representative, maybe tailor this a little bit to them, because there are a lot of things in crypto that speak to a more conservative, especially financially conservative agenda. Removing government, making the government smaller, crypto can get that.
Yeah, it's really bipartisan. It's good for everyone. So you can't ignore it. I mean, however you want to spin it for your representative and their political biases, but it's good for everyone, I think. And man, that statistic about Black Americans and Hispanic Americans, that is eye-opening. That should indicate a failure of our current system, if you ask me. That's a lot.
All right.
Yeah, these might not be the most exciting things to do with blockchain, maybe not the sexiest thing in crypto, but these are the things that matter. When you show up in numbers and you contact and communicate with representatives, like you said, they can't hang up on you. So, it might not seem like it matters or feel like it's something that makes a difference, but when the numbers turn out, you will see a difference, I think.
Yeah, always remember to do something with the politicians in your districts and in your states. They have to open your letter, okay? It doesn't have to be really long. And when they report up the food chain about what people are talking about, they're looking for the subject line, okay? And if they start seeing 50 people care, 150 people care, 1,000 people care, 10,000, then they really start to focus on making that money, right? We're just gonna have to play in the sandbox, because if you want to get shit done, you got to put money there. We got to figure it out.
It's 2023, and in 2017, we were talking about whether or not the government would shut down crypto, and now we're talking about how exactly everybody is talking about it. It's crazy how far we've come. I really think that in the next 3 years, we'll see politicians start to embrace this as a talking point, just like they did when it became clear that the public wanted like green stuff. Like politicians just like latched onto it and put it as part of their campaign platform, whether or not they actually like did it. But I really think that we're going to see a wave of politicians who support crypto because they see the incoming wave of the public who supports crypto.
If they want to prevent capital flight, they need to start getting with the industry and stop regulating by enforcement and start the conversation about how we can bring tax revenue to the U.S. Department of the Treasury and get on with it. Otherwise, other countries will. It's just, you can't put the sand back in the bottle. It's out now. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good. Alexis Kef shares the news of DeFi Llama. I met Alexis in Denver and I got a hoodie. I got an awesome hoodie from Alexis, so shout out to you. Appreciate you, sir.
It's also, it's good to know that it's Alexis and not Alex is Kef.
You confirmed.
Super nice. Met his wife too. Brilliant people.
Oh yeah.
Excellent.
Amazing people. That was so much fun meeting him and his wife. We had a great time at the Rocket Pool bowling night.
All right. You want to read his post, the DeFi Llama forking their own platform? Yeah,
the DeFi Llama is forking DeFi Llama. According to 0x and NGMI, the person who controls both DeFi Llama's Twitter and domain has decided to launch a token, despite everyone in the team not wanting it. This is why we, the DeFi Llama team who have built the site you all know and love for the past 3 years, have decided to fork DeFi Llama and start fresh at llama.fi or at llama.fi on Twitter. Do not trust any communications or token from at DeFi Llama or DeFiLlama.com. I have no idea if this is true, but the accounts seem to be the ones that control the extension. Personally, I have not uninstalled it, but be careful until we find out what is basically happening.
Does anybody in the audience have any more clarity on this situation? Because this is news to me. Because DeFi Llama is pretty big. This is kind of...
Yeah, so I have an update on it. So the DeFi Llama team basically said that they wanted... I'm trying to post this link for Dojo. They said that one guy from the team wanted to put out a token because he had been financially supporting the team. It turns out he hadn't been financially supporting the team as much as he had been representing.
Oh.
They made up. They are no longer forking it. DeFi Llama is whole again. They still have the handle llama.fi and the domain, but they have put out a statement that says they're not forking it. They're not releasing a token, and they will communicate better in the future.
Nick Sorakish.
Oh wow, thank you.
Nick So at the news desk with the update. There you have it. That's
you've
legit.
got your finger on the pulse of DeFi Llama.
Yeah.
There's the benefit of open source, guys. You can just fork it, and then all of a sudden they have to talk to you now.
DeFi camel.
And you get better at communicating. This is great. Glad to hear that.
We're gonna open up DeFi Alpaca. That'll be our brand.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I was kind of excited to see a contentious fork in the ecosystem because we always say like, oh, the beautiful part about open source and blockchain in general is that you can just fork it and submit your own contract. But we haven't actually seen that many forks happen. Like not contentious ones anywhere where somebody's like, we don't like how you're doing things. We're taking off.
We got ETH Trader and you got ETH Trader Classic now. So that's us.
Yeah, exactly. That was a contentious fork.
The way it's set up incentivizes people to work together. It's not good for either side if they split. So we may never see one. That would be awesome if we didn't, that it just kind of forced everyone to work together and sort out their problems.
Yeah, I mean that is a very good point. If they had not been able to fork the code, the guy who wanted to release a token could have just been like, screw you, what are you gonna do?
Right, it's like mutually assured destruction. So neither side wants that. But if they have to, they will, kind of thing. And then it forced everyone back to the table to sort it out. So win-win, man. That's the power of open source.
Very good. Let's go on down the list. Zero X Boba hasn't been checking the price for the last 3 months and checks in with us. What's up with Boba?
I tried not to check prices. I lasted 3 months. I ended up checking because of the SVB news. Good to see ETH is up 50% since I left. Oh, man. Makes me a little less worried about my CDP. The ARB airdrop was a nice surprise, too. Glad I didn't miss it while I was gone. The only other thing I was really worried about while I was gone was my non-ETH holdings. With withdrawals coming, I finally gave up on my Link and swapped them for RPL. More confidence in RPL than Link. I should have done it long ago. I got too attached to my Link and waited too long for the ratio to recover. I'm a horrible trader. Lesson learned there, but I need an exit plan for RPL. It's only 2% of my portfolio, though. Let's see, I'm going to jump down. So now I am 95% ETH and too heavy in ETHE in my retirement fund. Feels nice, other than the horrible ETH price. I'm sorry. It was kind of nice not checking the price for a few months, but I've also missed reading the daily. I'll probably stick around to claim my ARB, and maybe until withdrawals are enabled. Anything fun to do on Arbitrum these days? Something that won't make my taxes a mess this year.
Excellent. Great.
Everything's going to make your taxes a mess.
Sure, true.
All right. Well,
but yeah, I really
appreciated
I really appreciated them checking in and kind of just letting go of that daily, that daily crackhead where you check the price 1,000 times every hour.
Hey, now I represent
really nice
that.
Oh, sure. Just a weightless bliss waiting for you on the other side of that, I feel like.
I don't know how you can stop paying attention to the price when you have an open CDP like that. That is the one thing that would keep me checked in for sure.
God, PTSD.
Yeah.
Talk about peace of mind.
Nick, so you want to read the next one? Wolf Parking has some airdrop hunting ideas. Courtesy of
airdrop ideas.
Yep.
I recently joked with some friends at work about how the ARB airdrop would be my only work bonus this year, and of course they got super interested. Last Christmas I gave them all RPL and it has tripled in value, but since then they haven't really done anything with DeFi or crypto. However, I think airdrop farming might just be the push that gets them swimming. So I'm compiling a list of some of my airdrop farming tasks that I plan on doing every week. For the uninitiated, I'll provide step-by-step guides on some of the tasks every week if I can. I'll post all of that here in caches.xyz forum.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Where does he work? Because I want to be a coworker with him if he's giving people rocket pool at Christmas.
I can go through like some of these. Sure. Here's a shortened version of it. One of them is ZK Sync 1.0 transactions. ZK Sync just released a beta version of something today, so I bet using that beta version would be a big thing. Scroll testnet transaction, matcha swaps, orbiter.finance. So these are all like just swapping money and doing tiny little like transactions. And a lot of these are on L2. So it would be super cheap to do it once you're actually bridged over to that L2.
And of course, they are posting this on caches.xyz, which is kind of curated by our friend, the real John B. McElmore. So congrats to Wolf Parking. Thanks for sharing those airdrop alpha tips there. That's awesome. All right. Ender 985 has an update from the NFT world. A-Word, you want to take that one?
Yeah, meanwhile, more NFT shenanigans. 535 DGods NFTs that have been previously burned in Ethereum were resurrected as ordinals on the BTC at 0.333 BTC per mint this past weekend. They all sold in a single block. They all sold out in a single block. This project dominated ordinals secondary markets with over 1 million in volume, ahead of Yuga Labs' 12-fold ordinals by greater than 7 times. It seems ordinals are here to stay, and more so if they are backed by already established brands such as DeGods.
Excellent. Why not? Perfect.
Yeah, I really appreciate the updates because that stuff is just out of my realm of attention at this point. So always nice to see what's going on in the ordinals world.
Yeah, sure. Any ordinal holders in the audience? Curious what your experience is. Otherwise, we can move on.
I'm not a holder, but I had a question.
Sure.
Just because I'm not that plugged into it either. But how does it is everything? Are all the trades over the counter? Like, are they private swaps or something? I'm pretty sure. Do they have marketplaces for this stuff?
It's a good
So there's
question.
no smart contracts. Yeah, I don't know.
If they what are the odds they have to wrap it on Ethereum so they can put it on OpenSea?
Yeah. I don't. I'm thinking that it's like they have some central third party, that's facilitating the transactions. But I'm just curious if anybody knows.
That'd be a good research project for someone.
So I think if you go to ordinalswallet.com, they have like a little marketplace thing going on there.
Oh, okay.
Ah, here we go. Might have some answers. All right. Well, let's go on down. Nick, so you want to do next one? So not you discusses compromised Arbitrum airdrop wallets.
Yes, Twitter user found out around 2,400 compromised accounts, all approving ARB. Someone analyzed these, actually 25 wallets, and 1,791 wallets are eligible for about 3 million ARB total. Many users became victim by following links under the announcement tweet, surprised that Arbitrum didn't provide the link to their website with the announcement or turn off replies. They are not new to how crypto scams and hacks work. Frustrating to see that so much damage is done. Users have personal responsibility, sure, but I think the damage wouldn't be this big if Arbitrum guided users to the right place. Maybe I am a bit unreasonable here. Stuff like this can't be happening if crypto ever wants to become mainstream. And just to add this on, this is definitely how they got me too, is because usually when there's an announcement, it's the video, it's whatever resources they want to give. And then there's a link. There's a definitive official link under it. And Arbitrum didn't provide any link on there. So the first thing I did is I went to arbitrum.io, and there wasn't any obvious way to check eligibility or look at any information on the airdrop. And so they really should be guiding users to make it a little bit foolproof, because although you can say, well, users are being stupid, they shouldn't follow this, they should have good security practices. Not everybody's going to be like that, and you have to build the system for the majority. You can't build it just for the savvy.
I totally agree. And by the way, a lot of this, these best practices get the best of us sometime. Anybody pay attention to Linus Tech Tips? He lost his YouTube channel. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? 15 million subscribers. And they were stealing session cookies when they were logged in. And Google was basically, they didn't notice there was an IP address. Somebody scooped up session cookies and got the live stream keys. And then a crypto scammer was playing like an Elon Musk video. And they were trying to get people to click on crypto scams. It's just, they're everywhere. They're horrible. Go look at Linus Tech Tips story. I mean, it's like, you really got to know your shit to be doing anything high level. It gets the best of us. Anyway, let's go on. Buster Rules has something to say about Balaji. Hayward, take it away.
I will take Balaji seriously when he goes to explain his theory to people who gave the intellectual background to ask him the hard questions. His appearance on Bankless and the Pomp show yesterday were appalling. They weren't interviews. They were oral presentations. He could have said that Satoshi was going to come down from heaven and wash away our sins and give us eternal life, and the hosts would have nodded their heads and said, whoa. Balaji is not the intellectual he claims to be. An intellectual does not choose to host sold out to his cause to make his point. Instead, he will go directly to confront those who disagree. This is the very basis of the scientific method. I also find his tone to be alarmist, dramatic, filled with hyperbole, and created to capture attention. Who is he anyway? Is he an engineer who became a multimillionaire? Oh, he is an engineer who became a multimillionaire, apologize, in the early 2010s. He has no expertise in finance, history, or politics beyond what he has read elsewhere. Ironically, he has made his fortune from a system that he says he wants to escape today. His claim to fame is that he predicted the pandemic on early January 30th, 2020, except that on January 30th, the WHO declared a global health emergency. Wuhan had already been cut off from the rest of the world. There were confirmed cases in dozens of countries. He was a bit early, sure, but not at the feat that he claims. Finally, about his $1 million prediction. $1 million prediction. He has already prepared his exits. The 3 months that he will say, oh, the bet was just a wake-up call. You shouldn't have taken it at face value. I'm not sure about the timeline, but hyperinflation will happen soon. It won't happen, and he'll push the deadline again and again until he disappears into irreverence.
To Buster Rules' point, it's not the Balaji I'm used to hearing. I will say, if you do get a chance, sit down over the course of several hours, break it up if you have to, but Balaji's interview with Lex Friedman, I think, is a must listen, even if you don't agree with everything. I think that Buster Rules is cutting him short a little bit intellectually, but
I don't know.
I get it. I understand the pushback for sure.
I gotta agree. I'm so sick of tech bros who who become financially successful and then all of a sudden think that they're a genius in every realm that they touch.
Gotcha. Yeah, I agree. The Lex Friedman podcast is good though. I felt like it was good. You see Lex is a good conversation. Lex is a better interviewer than Bankless is, hands down. Period. Much more, much better.
That's why he has 8-hour interviews that people actually listen to.
Well,
sure.
7 hours is the longest podcast he's done, as far as I know. Most of them are 2 to 3. Because
it does seem. Oh, it does seem like once your income hits a certain level, then it's like they just feel entitled that now their opinion matters, and they get to enter the realm or the circle and start feeding out their, the entitlement that they've achieved through income. Now their opinion matters. Like she was saying, the crypto bros who make their millions and then all of a sudden they want to push these issues that really we'll see. Sometimes it's altruistic, sometimes it's to just line their pockets further in whatever industry they've set their sights on. But it does seem that the ticket to entry is income for sure.
On the positive side, that does speak to the fact that once people have like a little confidence behind themselves, a lot of people will listen to you if you just have the confidence to be like, here's what I think. On the negative side, I think that people worship people with money too much, and they think they reinforce the idea that once you have money, you must be a genius and you must be successful. So I am going to try to copy everything that you do and listen to everything that you say.
I just don't want Balaji to turn into the next Michael Saylor or some of the cringiest Bitcoin maxis out there. I feel like redeemable in one of the good ones. I don't know what's going on. He must have had the same COVID problem I did, and he's not returned to normal stupid. Nick, so you want to wrap us up with yours? I love this, the Coinbase Wells notice.
Sure. So Brian Armstrong posted on Twitter, and he posted a long tweet thread. It's worth reading all of the tweet threads, but I posted
100%.
or all of the tweets, but I posted two of them. The first one was, today Coinbase received a Wells notice from the SEC focused on staking and asset filings. A Wells notice typically precedes an enforcement action. The fourth one is, we are proud to stand up for our customers and the industry in these moments. And I said, honestly, it's best that Coinbase, who's well capitalized and equipped to handle this, be the one who goes to court with the SEC and set a precedent. A win for crypto against the SEC in court would be a big deal, and there's no one better poised to do that than Coinbase.
For now.
For now. Coinbase also posted an update, or I think it was Coinbase's lawyer who posted an update, and it is insane. Coinbase has spent, I think he said either millions or tens of millions of dollars drafting regulation to be able to just have the ability to comply with the SEC, and the SEC has just been messing with them, pulling them, basically promising that they're trying to work with them, and then stalling and not coming to the table, and then bringing an enforcement action against them.
Just remember, Kraken just lost, for now, ACH deposits and withdrawals because Silvergate Bank was arbitrarily shut down. There's a news, it's an editorial, mind you, but it came out in the Wall Street Journal that Barney Frank, when he first said they're coming after crypto, it actually aligned with some findings that it came down late in the later days in the aftermath, that it's very much targeting crypto, because any bank that takes on Silvergate's liabilities has to omit crypto on rails from that deal. And so Barney Frank said it. I mean, what's Coinbase going to do if the feds just arbitrarily shut off financial rails? They could have all the political action they want, but they would kneecap that company. And that company in the crypto world is probably kind of too big to fail, at least in the United States, if Kraken's also off for now. So hopefully the Kraken can get their rails fixed, and we don't see Coinbase go down in the next week.
Yeah, I mean, Coinbase had an IPO. The SEC approved Coinbase having an IPO, and
Right.
if they now go after Coinbase after having approved their IPO, they themselves look like idiots.
There's also news that NASDAQ is going to open up a crypto custody thing, and so now they're wanting to see when the SEC is going to go after NASDAQ. And then this just broke today.
So I was thinking about this a little bit, and it's interesting because, like, on the one hand, you hear about these crackdowns on like Coinbase and Kraken, but then on the same day, you hear about Fidelity opening up crypto for all its customers. But the main difference in those two platforms is that Fidelity is the custodian, and with Coinbase, I mean, yeah, they custody if you have it on their platform, but they're mainly just an onboard, and they allow you to withdraw your coins actually. So to me, it seems that the SEC is on board with having basically these centralized custodians where at the end of the day, just it's a glorified bank in that sense, because you wouldn't hold the keys anyways. They would be comfortable with that, but not with something where you actually control your money. And this whole thing with, like, the more I think about it, like, this is the absolute, like, this isn't like there's a Wells notice. Like, this is the worst damage that they could try to do. I mean, they're trying to shut down. If they get what they want, what do? They severely hamstring Coinbase. If they hamstring Coinbase, well, I mean, I don't know. This is endgame to me.
They're shoveling jobs out the door and they're doing it unapologetically. It's bullshit.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Hey, Nick, so can you open up the chat in the voice chat here? And I dropped a Bloomberg article. I'm going to share my screen, but can you read this article? Because this just happened today. I think we're getting pushback from NASDAQ, which would be pretty substantial, I think. I think we got power players in Wall Street starting to push back against the Fed a bit. Go ahead.
Let me...
It's a Bloomberg article. NASDAQ guys crypto custody launch by the end of second quarter. That's crazy. That's coming up fast.
Is it more than 2 paragraphs? Because I believe that it is gated. I can see the first 2 paragraphs.
I'm going to just copy. You know what? Just do the first 2 then. Close enough.
Okay. NASDAQ expects its custody services for digital assets to launch by the end of second quarter as it joins a growing pool of traditional finance firms that could fill the role of crypto middlemen following a spate of bankruptcies in the industry. The global exchange group is pushing ahead to get all the necessary technical infrastructure and regulatory approvals in place. Ira Auerbach, Senior Vice President and Head of NASDAQ Digital Assets, said in an interview in Paris. NASDAQ has applied to the New York Department of Financial Services for a limited purpose trust company charter, which would oversee the new business.
The project, which was initially announced in September, will mark the first major foray into crypto for the exchange operator. Safekeeping Bitcoin and Ether would be the first step. So it sounds to me like they're doing custody, just like EtherRater was talking about. But at least, I don't know. It's an offering an on-ramp of sorts. I think we'll wrap it up. Yeah, I think we're good. Anybody else got anything they want to add?
I just wanted to say real quick, too, I found another article about that, and apparently Bank of New York Mellon Corp is also launching a custody. So, yeah, I mean, the big boys are moving in. Maybe this is just designed to slow Coinbase down until it all gets together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's weird. Like, why try to put all these restrictions on Coinbase and allow all these other new entrants to come? It doesn't make any sense.
Because trying to tie them up legally, right? Like use their resources and their money to fight this while their competitors all get on board.
Yeah, and honestly, Coinbase is crypto native. It was born in the Web3 ecosystem, whereas like all of these other guys already have inroads with politicians, and they are part of the club. And I'm sure that they are like, no, I want to get in on this action. Let's level the playing field a little here, because Coinbase is already so far ahead.
Crazy.
Exactly.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream here, I think. But before we do that, stick around after the live stream because we continue the party in the hotel lobby on Discord for a bonus hour. It's a fun place to let loose when the parents aren't watching on YouTube. Thank you to Nixo. Thanks to Anthony Bertolino, POAP, and all of the Mavericks. On behalf of the Ethfinance and EVMavericks DAO, my name is JT. Hopefully I get my freaking voice back next week. Cheers and big hugs from Kansas City.